The red dot says we're live. We are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on a 3 Dadgummit. Today is Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. For you, it is Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. For us, by George. We got a fantastic show tonight, fellas. Got a fantastic show. The spring has come to an end for Auburn football. Ended yesterday with some A-Day festivities. Auburn baseball swept number 3 LSU. Softball team, I think, got a dub over somebody.
Won a series over Georgia.
Georgia won the series over Georgia. Has some recruits in town Saturday. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to get to the phone lines as soon as possible. 701-779-9585. We're going to talk, take any questions, maybe address some comments. Here to do it with me, as they always are, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Sir Alan Head. How about you, big dogs?
How about you?
How about you?
How about you, brother? How we doing today?
Great, man.
Yeah. The transfer portal opens this week as well.
Transfer portal opens.
Basketball transfer had a visitor on Saturday. Left.
Yep.
Got some more coming in.
There's so much going on in Auburn on Saturday. So I saw a Georgia bus, I saw an LSU bus, I saw another college that I can't remember, and just buzzing people everywhere. A-Day, fan day, softball, baseball, rodeo, everything.
Rodeo, that's right.
At once. So it was a good little Saturday, man. I enjoyed it. I had a good day.
Great day. I spent I tell you what, man. Not only that, Cole. I tell you, I got to see some some former Auburn players coming in, and Chris Todd was there. Clint Mosley was there, and they're starting up a podcast, and we're gonna call it In the Pocket.
Okay,
I will tune in.
In the Pocket. Got to meet Mike Blanc or see Mike Blanc for the first time since his return, and I tell you what, my day Saturday highlighted. I saw and spoke and spent a lot of time talking to Mike McNeil.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Former Auburn safety. One of my all-time favorite recruits to cover. His family, his granddad, Mr. Clifton. Got to know them really well throughout his recruitment. We all know the story on Mike. Had bad decisions with a group of players, I think, in 2011. And he's doing fantastic. He's had his son up there. He's doing really well, living in Atlanta. I think doing some movie productions. You know, they're doing a lot of East Coast. The Hollywood East Coast is kind of coming to Atlanta. They're doing a lot of movie stuff in Atlanta. He's involved there, but doing fantastic, man. I was really glad to see Mike. Trying to think who else was in there, Cole. Did you see anybody you remember?
There's always guys, you know. There's always former players there.
Yeah. Gillian Zier. How do you pronounce it? Zier.
I've been saying. Did you ask him?
Yeah, I asked Gillian. I said, "How do you pronounce your last name?" He goes, "How do you pronounce it?" I said, Zaire.
I've been saying zero.
No, I can't. Yeah.
He said it's Zier. I'm serious. That's what he said. It's Zier. Cole, did you notice Wilson's Zier is a big-time offensive tackle target for a lot of schools, including Auburn. He was back on the Plains Saturday. His brother, his younger brother of Killian, who played for, I think, Gus and maybe into the Harsin regime.
He did.
But, damn it, what was I going to say?
I would think you're going to get to Cole's RPM pick for it.
Oh, he put it in. I know it, but I had something else. What were we talking about? Oh, Cole. So when you talk to Wilson, do you hear, like, I think they're German, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you hear Wilson? Does he have a German accent?
Very slight.
Don't you notice it, though? It's just enough to go.
It's like it's a little bit of German accent mixed with, hey, I've been in Georgia for a while.
Yeah. Well, do you think? I would love to know his history, because it almost sounds like he spent some time in Germany. Like, if you're born in Georgia, and I don't care where your parents are from, you're going to sound like you're from Georgia.
Yeah, which he does. I mean, he does sound like he's.
But he also sounds like he spent maybe 3 or 4 years in Germany, or maybe he's around his parents who speak fluent German.
So
a lot.
He sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator after he's been hanging out with Jesse the Body Ventura. Got it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Completely understood.
I spent like 2 summers with Willie Nelson, but here comes the Terminator.
I like it.
It's a rare combo. It's a good combo. I like it.
Oh, for sure. He's a great kid. But so busy Saturday. Fantastic Saturday. Got to watch the team practice / scrimmage. We wanted to get to all of it, man. Talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. 701-779-9585. Before we get to the phone lines.
Is that a hairball? What was that?
Yeah, dude, I've been petting cats. Before we get to the show, before we get to the call line, I wanted to say if you're in or around Auburn, Opelika County, if you're looking for some help, real estate help, looking to buy a home, maybe sell your house, maybe invest in a rental property. Look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. My goodness, that's a lot of fours in that number, but it's not indicative, but she's a freaking 5-star realtor. If you don't believe me, just ask this shirt right here.
Look at that.
Just ask this shirt right here.
Look at that.
She's a freaking 5-star realtor, does it. Somehow manages to run a family and a household while keeping her clients extremely happy. She's 5 stars consensus all across the board. Give her a call, man. 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. I tell you what, before we get to the phone lines, fellas, what was one or two things that really popped off to you? We named all that was going on this past weekend plus week, really going back to last show. Cole, what were some of the things that maybe stood out to you? Was it the scrimmage? Was it seeing some of these guys? Was it talking to some people, some staffers? Was it maybe seeing the recruits and who showed up? A baseball sweep.
I don't know. I don't really know the fans' perspective of how A-Day went, but mine was, boy, I loved it. It was laid back.
Yeah.
I was kind of going into it going, I hope the fans aren't let down by this today, because I felt that way. That was the feeling I was getting of how it was going to go down. I would like to hear, I hope some people call in and let us know what their takeaway of it, because I loved it. I mean, I like the practice setting anyway, more than the let's try to make a fake game.
Yeah.
The traditionalists are going to hate that. I'm sorry. But I like seeing the one-on-ones. I like seeing, offensive line, defensive line getting after it. So that was really cool. Obviously, you can really see some of the guys that are standing out that way in different ways, not just watching them in a game setting. You get to see them actually going against each other, which is cool. Love that. Thought the recruiting list, while small, very nice.
Yes.
Very heavy. Very top target heavy. These are guys that they have really honed in on. Braylon Womack, Wilson Zierer,
Tank Jones.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Jordan Thomas.
Caden
Harris.
Claude and Puma.
Oh, it's Claude Puma.
Is it just Puma?
The M is silent, kind of like the
G in lasagna,
like the Q in POW.
There you go.
Personal question of the week, big dog.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, that's how he described it. He said it's like the shoe.
Puma. Okay.
I like the animal.
I like that.
The Puma.
which technically is named after the animal. So yes. Absolutely. I will say this. I consider myself a traditionalist. I was actually talking before the game with Wesley McGriff, Crime Dog, and we were, we're old. I'll be 50 here soon, and I think he surpassed that a couple of.
Yeah, Wes is like 55, I think.
I was eavesdropping on that conversation. Definitely.
So we were talking about, they used to, you split up the teams orange and blue, and they'd play each other, and whoever won, the losing team, and he was talking about the losing coaches would buy the winning coaches dinner. I mean, there was stuff at stake. You tried to win, and then even I remember hearing them talk about the draft. Like the coaches would get on in the board, and you're drafting for your team.
Sure,
and. Yeah, and Crime said, if you're a player, you kind of know where you stand when you're like the 7th round pick, or whatever it was. Like you kind of know where you fall on the depth chart. You're like an undrafted free agent.
He said, if you're still standing there looking around, you know where you stand.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
I'm the only tight end left.
Yep, definitely bottom of the depth chart.
But I liked what you said, Cole. I got to see, you got to see Perry Thompson. You got to see Preston Howard. You got to see guys that in a game type situation that gets lost.
You might get one target, might get 2 targets. That's all you see, right?
You got to see the offensive lineman against the defensive lineman one-on-one. You're focusing on each player, and they're going down the line. You got to watch them. I thought it was a very – and I love the relaxed setting for us. So
love that.
I agree with you there, big dog.
Selfishly, I love that. And that's why I'm wanting to hear what everybody thought that was there. I mean, because, the weird thing about it is, like for you, Alan, you're not there. You didn't get to see it.
No, I didn't. But you guys did a fantastic job of covering it on the board, kind of giving some live analysis, which was great for those,
Twitter video.
for us that can't be there and can't be present. So you're really kind of living on your perception of it. And that's important that you have an idea of what you're looking at. So appreciate you from that context for sure. But probably the recruits' words are what caught my attention. Seeing a guy like Tank Jones more or less confirm what I've thought. He's not leaning one way or the other. He's open. And so anybody that thinks that young man's leaning one way, they've lost their mind. He's going to be a signing day decision. And that was good to hear that part because it makes you know that Auburn's still in it. Obviously, Wilson's ear, big comments from him talking about Auburn being towards the top, and then watching your reaction to that, Cole, because just mind your relationship. I know you don't put that pick in willy-nilly. You know what I mean? That's something that you put a lot of thought into, and you're speaking to people in the background. So when that kind of thing goes forward or goes public, you realize that Auburn has really kind of made a move. And then other guys, Braylon Womack, I thought he had some really big statements about Auburn. Jeffrey, you talked about that.
Yeah.
Auburn's probably fighting Ohio State, I would think, as the
That's
other
fair.
team in that recruitment. A&M and Florida are also in the mix, but I think Ohio State's the one that Auburn's going to have to beat if they're going to land that one. And then Claude Puma, him being there, that's a 4-star blue chip offensive tackle, a guy that's extremely important. I think it's somebody that they've marked in this class, or Jake Thornton's marked in this class as a guy they would love to land. So a lot of big-time targets. Outside, then you talked about the baseball sweep, Jeffrey. I thought that was really big for Butch to now go 9-6 in conference play. We have fans on this board, and it's insane to me that we're talking about how maybe we need to depart ways with Butch as of about a month ago.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy that's taking you to 2 College World Series and has provided more consistency over any baseball coach in Auburn history other than Hal Beard. It's proof of concept of let things play out sometimes, guys. You just hang with it. He's a quality baseball coach. He's a fantastic human being. He's got the program headed in the right direction. I think this is going to be a big year for him. And then beyond that, outside the Auburn sphere, the Nico Iamaleava situation playing out. Pete Nako's redemption story one day later.
Ooh.
It's fascinating to me to watch the first public, and I will say this, public college football holdout, because I think we've had these situations before, but it's been couched by the fact of, he's got a hamstring injury, and so he's not playing today. But this one played out in a very messy way on a very public stage. And it kind of brings it to light that you need to have players on contracts, because right now players, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have freedom to move. They should, and they should get paid. But like a coach or any other professional athlete, if you are receiving a monetary incentive, there are buyouts for you to have to move. You can't just up and decide, you know what, I'm going to hold a team hostage and tell them I'm going to enter the transfer portal if you're not going to pay me $4 million. Now, good for Josh Heupel for being able to set a baseline of this is not in my program. We're not going to do this. But at the same time, those same fans that are applauding him for taking that stand, if Tennessee goes 5-7 next year or 6-6, they're also going to be calling to fire him.
Sure.
That's just the way it works, right? It's a scoreboard business. And when you don't win, you're held accountable for that. And I just think college football is on a really slippery slope here. If they don't move in a direction where players are not contractually obligated to fulfill requirements, and if they don't want to be in that contract anymore, that they have to buy out of that contract to kind of curb some of what you have right now within college football.
The same place that will name the field after you or put a statue up of you will also fire you.
You were right about that.
I want to give our guy JD Piquel over at On 3 a quick shout, because I thought he had a point that made the most sense to me about that situation. He said, if you want to talk about money, sure. Nobody's saying that's wrong. It's when you start missing practice because of it. That's the problem. That's what you hope to never see at Auburn, right?
Well, it's why character. We talked about it on this show, and we've talked about it privately. It's why character and how coaches do kind of a deep dive on who you are as a person and who's in your circle before they're going to really invest in you in a recruitment right now, because the influences that you have around you. I mean, look, I don't think Nico's making this decision by himself, right? He's got people around him that are helping him make this decision.
Of course.
His dad made sure everybody knew that.
His dad.
Absolutely, he did.
He had to.
You know what I mean? Which, by the way, that just gets me on a whole other rant about internet tough guys that love to come out and say things that they don't have to be accountable for. He's not saying that to Pete's face. You know what I mean? He's saying that on the internet, on the Twitter sphere, where he can basically do whatever he wants.
Pete would have whooped his ass.
I would think so. I would think so. But no, I mean, that's just a whole other thing about how people are braver on social media than they are in real life. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, because Pete put out a story with a credible source that basically stated that they're having internal conversations that could cause Nico to go in the portal.
Sure.
That was the whole story, right? And then it was made into something that it wasn't.
Then his dad called him a bitch.
Yeah.
This bitch, Pete Nakos.
Yes.
Basically calling him out for inaccuracy.
Yeah, said it was fake news or whatever, but then the next day he misses practice, and then we have a story, like a major story.
Sure.
It became more than it maybe even was going to be because of the way they retaliated. Boy, it's a mess.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. 10 years from now, we're going to look back at this period of college football and go, can you believe that that's what was happening? Can you believe that?
I'm looking back on like the COVID year and seeing the way everybody was spread out in the stadium and going, that was a thing.
Yeah.
It feels like,
can you believe that?
It feels like a fever dream. You know,
it does, doesn't it? And that's only 5 years ago. And think about how far in the rear view that feels at this point. I think when we finally get to whatever the next stage of college football is going to be, you're right, Jeffrey, we're going to look back at that and think, what in the world and why did it take so long to move to whatever the next evolution was going to be?
Yeah.
But you're right. And anybody, Jeffrey, to your point about the dad's comments, anybody that's ever taken a Psych 101 class in college would realize that that is classic for I got my hand caught in the cookie jar. Yep. And I'm going to retaliate and pull at strings and try to point fingers at somebody when
deny.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I hate it for Tennessee that it's playing out in this way. I mean, good for them again for drawing the line, drawing a standard.
And being as transparent as I thought they were very transparent, considering like what you said, Alan, it's a hamstring. He's not feeling well.
Yes.
And it was now they didn't come out officially, but there were leaks and it was coming from within.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I mean, it certainly didn't come from his side, even though, and there had been rumors in NIL circles for a while that Nico's fans, they were shopping, right? They were looking at other deals.
And let's not act like this is the first time this has ever happened. Okay. It's just the first time it's been publicized this way.
Yes.
A lot of transfer portal stuff happens this way. Probably not all of it, but a good bit of it, I would be willing to bet. We've all heard stories. So I know we got to get callers, but it's an interesting, you're going, God, please don't let that trickle over to other programs. That's what you're hoping for as a fan, as a consumer of all this. Right.
Well, I think what you're hoping is, if you're a fan of college football and you're watching this right now, and then we need to get to callers, but either one of two things are going to happen. That Congress is watching this play out and realizing that the NCAA, as it is presently empowered, cannot enforce rules or limitations. They just can't. And if they do, they get sued, and thus they are limited, even more powerless. So either you have to give them an antitrust exemption in a very strategic way for them to be able to make guidelines and rules as it pertains to NIL, or two, the NCAA has to be separated from college football and you have to put players on contracts to kind of limit this, or it's just going to continue to play out in an ugly fashion. You're going to continue to have more of this, and it's going to damage the sport in a way that college fans are going to eventually, as popular as college football is, eventually they're going to become disinterested in it and say, it's like every other pro sport. I want nothing to do with it.
Yep. Zach in the back, any chance you come to the front?
Yep, we got plenty of callers tonight.
Okay. Get to it, big dog. You're supposed to come up here and tell us to shut up.
It was a good conversation.
Okay.
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama, kicking us off as usual. You're live, man.
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
How about you, Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama? What's on your mind tonight, buddy?
Let's talk about the wide receivers.
The wild receivers.
I like it. Perry Thompson,
Talk about them. Let's talk about them.
big day.
Yeah, he did.
How many catches Perry Thompson caught?
Oh, you kept an eye on him, didn't you?
I'd say he is in the double digits. I mean, if you're counting like the team portion and the one-on-ones, he made a lot of big plays all together.
God, it's another
How about the guy named Fields?
ratio.
Yeah, had a touchdown, about took me out. It was great.
Horatio.
Was that before or after your INT, Cole?
It was right around the time.
I about took out Dylan Gentry on his little touchdown.
Oh,
For
did
the
you?
record, I did not catch that ball. Well, that's why I said it was a rumor, because it didn't happen. It was not a rumor.
Did Dylan step in the end zone after it was over?
Team?
I'm swiping. Well, I'm sorry, Kevin. What'd you say, buddy?
How about the baseball team
Well.
sweeping LSU?
How about that, Kevin? Were you expecting that?
But we will sweep Texas too.
I hear you, Kevin. That would be big.
I saw my first 4 innings of Auburn baseball live and in person,
yeah.
Kevin.
Does Texas still wear white cleats?
I don't know. I think so.
Remember that back in the day?
I do.
Allen Head.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kevin.
Do we still have Caden Blue?
Who?
Caden Ballou.
Oh, we do. He's injured right now, Kevin. He's been dealing with a couple different injuries on and off all season. Caden
Baseball.
Oh, the baseball player. I'm sorry.
Baloo. He's been dealing with a couple of different injuries. I think it's a back and maybe a hamstring. And of course, he had a very difficult situation with his mother earlier in the year. They've kind of had he's had some personal struggles so far. But I think it's more injury than anything that's kept him out of the lineup. But you're talking about an extremely important player and an important bat. And they've been able to do this without him, which makes it even more impressive what Butch Thompson has been able to do. And then if you looked at the differences in between the pitching talent, like just natural talent between LSU and Auburn, I think they have done a phenomenal job on getting guys dialed in that aren't the biggest or most physically talented, but they're getting the max out of them. I mean, you're talking about a guy in Sam Dutton who came from LSU. He transferred this past year, like a career 4.50 ERA, and he has been lights out on Friday night. They've really worked on his cutter and his curve since he's gotten here, and he's just really mowing guys down.
Auburn softball team.
That was big for them. The Malvos now 2 series back to back. They beat Kentucky and Georgia after starting 0-12 in SEC play. So good to see them get some traction.
And they're going to Tennessee, and I'm hoping we can beat them.
You know, Mania Womack got the start on Saturday.
She did. She did.
Hat tip to Caleb Jones, who is a Auburn softball
Enthusiast. He
absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
And women's
He is.
basketball.
Yeah.
Good for Caleb.
Well, good deal, Kevin. We appreciate you calling and checking in, buddy.
Hey, my mom's back home.
All
Hey.
right.
Hey, that's
All
the
right.
best news of the weekend, Kevin. I'm glad to
All
hear
right.
it.
Awesome.
And I still got fan favorite on Live 3.
You got the fan favorite on Auburn Live on 3?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fan favorite, big dog.
And favorite.
How's that make you feel,
Talk to
Kevin?
you later, War Eagle guys.
War Eagle, buddy. I'm going to get your thoughts on that next week. No, actually, we won't be on next week. It's Easter. All right, good stuff, Kevin. Appreciate you calling in, big dog.
I believe we got Anthony from Montgomery here. Anthony, you're live.
Fellas.
Fellows.
Look at that bass in his voice tonight. I hear you, Anthony.
Fellow.
Yeah.
How y'all doing tonight?
Very good, man. What you got on your mind football wise? I know you do.
I really don't have a question. I got how I want to say this. I just want to tell you how I feel, and it might be. I got an interesting take,
Okay.
and it might be unpopular. I want to know y'all opinion on this.
All right.
Shoot, baby.
I'm annoyed with the Deuce Night hype, and let me explain. Let me explain why.
Okay.
I feel like with all the hype, like I'm good with competition. Of course, it's football. We want competition, but I don't want to be stuck in that weird dilemma that it feels like Auburn been in for the last 6-7 years, where you got a quarterback. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback until
Yeah.
SEC play,
I hear you.
and is you Jackson. I mean, Jackson Arnold, Deuce Knight. The first couple of weeks, even though we got Baylor, we trying to figure out who's going to be the guy by the time we get to Oklahoma. I'm sick of that. I don't want to do that. I want to hear that Deuce Knight is going to be good, but he's the future. I want to hear that Jackson Arnold is the guy. I want him to get all the reps. I don't want this split competition thing. Get Jackson ready. And if it's that equal, just start Deuce. If the young guy, if it's on the same level, just start Deuce. But I want Jackson to be the guy. And I also don't want the situation of Deuce right now, Deuce ready now. And then what's gonna happen next year if we go 7-5-8-4? Think Deuce gonna stick around for 2 years if everybody's saying he's ready right now, and Jackson Arnold don't do enough to go to the NFL? So I just want Jackson Arnold to be the guy, and I want him to get all the reps so he can. And I just don't want to be stuck in that weird dilemma. And if y'all get what I'm saying, like say like every year we in that weird dilemma of we don't have to know who's the guy until like week 4 or week 5.
Yep.
I think it needs to be said about Deuce. All the way up until this past week, we had heard nothing but just rave reviews about Deuce from everybody, right?
Sure.
And then Friday, I think it was the Friday before A Day, maybe it was the Thursday. Okay, he throws four interceptions.
Yep.
And I was asking around, Cole, you might have been there. Hell, you might have been the one that told me this, but what you have to understand was Deuce. His first time going against the big dogs was Thursday. The first
Correct.
time all spring. He was going against the JV. He was going against the freshmen and the sophomores, and he was doing what you would expect him to do. And then he got in. Am I wrong here, Cole? Then he goes against the big dogs on Thursday, throws 4 interceptions, and again on Saturday, I believe New Boy picked him off.
Yeah.
So
Twice.
So hey,
Just once.
I don't think we're there yet.
Well, the thing is, Jeffrey, he was going against mostly twos because he's running with the twos a lot, or the perceived twos. We don't exactly know who they are yet.
Right.
When he's going through one-on-ones and things that are not live team drills, he's throwing against K and Lee. He's throwing against guys like that. So you have a gauge and you go, okay, his ball placement's good. But this is, of course, I'm standing there. I've got no pressure. I'm throwing a one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
So Thursday, I'm not sure if that was like the very first time, but I can tell you that practice was about as physical as you're going to get. People got banged up. That's why a lot of guys were not there for A-Day.
Jackson Arnold being one of those.
Jackson Arnold, he got stepped on or whatever happened there. He's okay, but, they don't want to risk anything, obviously. No reason to. And when the bullets start flying a little bit, he looks a little bit more like a freshman or more like what we expect.
Sure.
Doesn't mean he doesn't look good. He
Right.
looks good, but he's going to make some freshman mistakes. His timing's going to be a little bit off. He's going to throw a pick or two. That's what we expected. And there was a report out there that he hadn't thrown picks. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I think he kept it clean for the most part. When the bullets start flying, not as clean. It's not a coincidence. Anthony, to your point, which I think is a good point, here's the one slight difference I would say. So you're looking at the room a year ago, 2 years ago, you're having this dilemma. I totally agree that dilemma sucks. The problem with the dilemmas before is you're going, Holden Gerner ain't proved anything yet.
Yeah. Your number 2 was
that guy's been here for a minute. He ain't done nothing yet. I don't know what to think of that. I think the difference now is the reason why it seems like there's a bigger competition is because the other guy's really good too.
Yes.
Deuce Knight's good. I think you got like two skill sets that coaches are going, all right, we got something now. This is what we're going for. This is what we need, this competition. And then you got Ashton Daniels coming in.
That's right.
Correct.
So it's more of a good problem to have, but still I'm using the word problem because I agree with you. You don't want that dilemma. You want Jackson Arnold to separate himself. I will say it's still early. We got time.
You do. And I hear Anthony, and from a fan's perspective, I think what he's saying is we want competition, not controversy.
Yeah.
Right? We want competition, not controversy. And I understand where he's coming from on that. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be that clean because you're right, Cole. You're adding a whole other layer to this in Ashton Daniels when he gets here in the fall. And I think they're going to give him, in the spirit of competition, they're going to give him every opportunity to battle for the number one job. They really are. And I think they're wise to do that. And because they need that locker room to be sold on whoever they settle on, they need that locker room to be convinced that that's the guy and that nothing was promised.
Even though they've now seen 15 practices of Deuce and Jackson Arnold, they still know more about what Ashton Daniels brings to the table. They still do. He's played more football than them combined.
From a competitive rep standpoint, absolutely, Cole.
It's a crazy situation is what it is.
And I will say one other thing, and this is not going to be popular, and before anybody thinks I'm taking a shot at somebody, I'm not. But I would encourage the people that are watching this show and other people out there, be careful with where you consume your content in the off season. Just because they have a microphone in front of their face does not mean that they necessarily know what they're talking about. So buyer beware, okay, on that one.
Beware. Good stuff, Anthony. Always appreciate your call, big dog. Looking forward to the next time. Keep us going, Zach.
5799. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's Ricky from Birmingham.
What's up, Ricky?
Hey.
Can you hear
I
us,
got
Ricky?
a opinion and two questions for the
Opinion
night.
and 2 questions. We will allow it.
Okay. My first opinion is I really think there should be a change of format in college football. I think right now you got spring practice and you got 8 days in spring, but I think it should be changed to OTAs instead of just having an 8-day game. And in the summer, well, in the you got fall camp in August. And I really think you need to have 2 preseason games and have that 2 preseason games. Then you got a couple weeks later, you got your first game of the year. So that's just my opinion. It needs to be changed because I think 8 days pretty much lost its touch because everybody doing different things doing for 8 days. So
I think Hugh Frieza
I don't know if
agrees
y'all
with you, Ricky.
agree or disagree or not, but
Yeah.
my first question is how close can we compare this wide receiver group to the 2019 LSU group? Wide receiver group.
Ooh.
And my last question going to be do Auburn really need to add more depth at defense line position through the portal, or do they have trust in the freshman group?
Okay. I think that's two fantastic questions, Ricky.
Yes.
Really fantastic. 2019 LSU. By the way, RIP Kyron Lacey.
Yes.
Oh,
Man. What a terrible story, right?
I heard that back, on my way back home today, and I was that hurt.
That whole thing is just rough in a lot of ways, unfortunately.
Trevon recruited that kid incredibly hard when he was coming out of the portal.
But 2019, you've got a bunch of first rounders. You've got Jamar Chase,
Justin
Jefferson.
Thaddeus Moss was a tight end on that team.
Yes.
So what are you shaking your head at, Zach?
I just don't even think it's close.
I knew Zach was coming in here. I was waiting for him to throw that.
He had something to say, big dog. Okay, so you're taking Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Let's just stop with those two.
Who else? They had more though. Terrace Marshall.
They had Terrence Marshall Jr. and Racy McMath was on that team as well.
To go along with
now, here's the difference.
Chase.
Okay, We
Burrow?
also we're looking at this through the lens of what they accomplished, because a lot of those guys prior to that year had not established themselves in the way that they did in that season. So let's give air to the fact that this team or this wide receiver core has an opportunity to go out there and put that kind of proof of concept on the field. Are they better? I don't think you can sit here and make an argument that they are, because you don't know.
Well, did they beat the shit out of Auburn, or was it?
No, it was tight.
That's what I thought.
It was-
Auburn almost beat them.
So
Didn't they?
that was the
team
one.
they didn't beat by 2 touchdowns.
Who was talking about this game? Cole, to us, one of the coaches.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Chad Lunsford. He was head coach of Georgia Southern,
Yeah.
and they opened up with LSU that year,
Oh yeah. Probably got boat race too.
and they did.
That might be Kevin Steele's best defensive game plan
Unbelievable.
in his
Yes.
tenure at Auburn. I mean, I think he played 7 or 8 defensive backs the entire game.
Yes.
And Derek Brown was
Yeah.
an absolute man. I mean, they were running 2 down defensive line at times, and he was commanding 3 people
Yeah. He was
and winning.
The good old
in that game.
days.
Yeah,
Roger McCreary had a breakout game that day.
he did.
If it wasn't for Seth Williams dropping that pass right before halftime, right before the end zone, Auburn probably gets that game.
They might have. They might have.
Do you remember what play was actually pivotal in that game? Do you remember DJ?
The run out of bounds, yes.
What's his name?
Williams.
Golly,
Yes.
DJ Williams. He breaks off this huge run, and he could have scored. He lost where he was or something. He stepped at it like the 2, and Auburn did not punch it in.
Jeffrey, you covered his recruitment pretty much exclusively. He was out of Seaburn, Florida. Am I correct?
He
And
was a
quarterback. Yeah.
Badass. Some of the best high school highlights you'll see. Like, he
Oh,
was
they were
really he was unheard of when Auburn started getting on him. He was a nobody,
Yeah.
and he ended up
Committed
being he ended
Appalachian
up.
State, right?
I believe you're right. He did flip from
He
there.
went to-
Yeah.
oh yeah, he ended up at like what, Arizona or something like that.
Central Florida. Didn't he go play for Gus after he left Auburn?
Boy,
Florida State.
Did he go to Florida State? I think you're right. I think it is Florida State.
He is now in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
How about that?
kidding.
No,
Like
he
practice.
is an
squad
American
already?
professional football running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He played college football at Auburn, Florida State, and Arizona.
You are right. He did go to Arizona, Cole.
I thought so.
I remember him transferring to a Florida school. I thought it was UCF, but that was Mark Anthony Richards that went there.
Yes,
You know who his uncle was? Edrin James.
Edrin James. I remember that. The Miami
Sebring
guy.
High School quarterback.
Sebring.
He received a little attention as a recruit, but then significant attention after a 3-star recruit. He committed to Auburn, previously committed to App State.
I remember the App State part because I remember when you were covering that, Georgia got in on him
Yep.
after Auburn did. That was a Tim Horton find, if I remember
Yep.
correctly.
It was close on signing day. I
Yeah.
seem to remember that.
I do too. Like I said, he went from nobody to Georgia and Auburn fighting for him.
To Ricky's question. Sorry, Ricky. We do.
Yeah. We have a tendency to do that.
We,
Started off with LSU wide receivers, ended up with DJ Williams.
I don't know.
look,
I'm kind of with Zach. I don't think I would go that far, especially not since we've seen him on the field. But Free said it himself. He compared this group. He said the quote, don't quote me exactly, but a lot of people asked me to compare what we've got right now to, I think he said 2016 or 17 when he was at Ole Miss, which was DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Van Jefferson.
yes. I
think, what's his name? The tight end, Evan Ingram was on that team, I think.
Yeah, multiple first, second, and third rounders in that wide receiver core. I mean, he recruited some dudes.
And I remember the exact quote on that part was rivals it. He said, I don't know if I can go that far, but it rivals it.
There you go. I think that's fair to
So-
those guys. I'm with Zach on this. I'm not there yet.
No,
On LSU.
you'd have to see it on the field to get to that point.
I mean, let's be honest. You're talking about probably, likely NFL Hall of Famers.
2
For
of them.
sure.
Two
And
of them.
also, in case y'all did not know,
3 of them with quarterback.
DK Metcalf redshirted. Didn't record a snap record a stat his first year.
Perry Thompson.
Right. Right.
That's what they're hoping for. I mean,
He
that's
mentioned that after the
Oh,
A-Day,
yeah?
he said that somebody asked about Perry's performance. He's like, well, DK Metcalf redshirted.
well, and if I'm on here, and I think I am, that's probably Hugh talking through the media to Perry too. If
Sure.
I'm being completely honest.
Probably.
Ricky, portal lineman, fellas, defensive line. I think we decided Auburn was go at least another interior guy out of the portal.
I think 1 to 2.
They'll get 1 to 2. I'm leaning more 1 right now because of
Yeah.
the freshmen that have stood up. I mean, they really think they got something. Even Malik Blockton was like, when I talked to him after the game, he was like, that ain't how I was as a freshman. I promise. I was making mistakes left and right. These guys know what to do.
My first time seeing Jordan Crawford in person in pads. Holy smokes!
Yeah,
All
he's
Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. I am not comparing him to Derek Brown. I want to put that out there. Not at all. It would take a whole lot because Derek Brown was
different
unreal.
frame, right?
What about T.J. Jackson? Stump.
I think he's a little more athletic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say he's a different, similar frame, right? Probably about an inch taller than TJ because TJ was what, 6 foot straight up and down.
Yeah, him and Josh Thompson wore high heel shoes to get on the big kid ride.
I think Thompson might even have been less than 6 feet. I
Yeah,
think
he
he
was
might have been
about
like
5'11".
He was Stump. Yeah,
But again, I'm not comparing him, but there is a certain this area of your body
Mhm.
that I've only seen Derek Brown have, and now Jordan Crawford has a similar chest.
he's
Like,
wide.
He's got that going on, and
He
that
got a lot
that
of girth.
got a lot of power, man. He takes on those doubles. He's Malik Blockton said he's the strongest guy on the team, or one of them already, and that's crazy.
And I think his frame plays to his advantage as a nose guard because of the
Completely
leverage that
agree.
he can get and gap penetration. I
Love
think he is going to absolutely wreck people before it's all said and done. But I do think, to your point, Cole, early season, you need some veteran rotational depth as these guys get accustomed to playing at the Power 5 level. I mean, they're going to be players. I mean, I fully believe Malik Autry, Jordan, they are going to be guys that are going to, for the next 3-4 years, you're going to carry Auburn on the defensive line. But I think early season, as they're adjusting, you need a veteran in there to kind of help bring them along so you're not exposing them too soon and that you've got somebody that you can lean on, specifically at that 3-tech spot.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Ricky. That was good stuff. Really like those questions.
I believe we have Carter here. Carter, you're live.
Gentlemen, how the hell are you?
What's going on, Carter?
How about you, Big Dog?
Not too much. Just watched the green jacket ceremony. Wasn't too bad. And I just wanted to call in and ask a few questions. First of all, NIL aside, what are the odds that we have a chance to take both Braylon Womack and Jira Edwards? And two, give me some standouts from spring practice between all of y'all. If you have anyone on your mind, I've been reading the updates and whatnot, and specifically one that caught my eye was Amaris Williams. I think that dude has got that dog in him, and the fact that he came back and got out of the portal, I think it could really, really help our D line.
Standouts, Carter. As far as the safeties goes, I think that would be ideal scenario for Auburn to sign Braylon Womack. And listen, Braylon Womack's. I think Jira Edwards. Y'all correct me if you're wrong. If I'm wrong here, I think Jira Edwards is your prototypical safety. I think Braylon Womack could play any of the three positions, whether it be nickel, corner, or safety. I think that you go in all in on those guys. I think there's a legitimate shot with both. I like. Yeah. I meant to finish earlier, but the three guys that I took away from Saturday that I really like where Auburn stands right now: Braylon Womack,
yes,
Puma,
yes,
and well, let me tell you about Puma and Zier.
Wilson,
Zier.
I like the European accent.
You couldn't you couldn't see it in the interview, but Puma was one of those guys where you're like, man, I wish people could see his facial expressions because he loved it.
He did.
Loved it. And when we asked him where does Auburn sit, he was like, oh man, they're at the top. Well, I don't want to say that they're, and so it was his first instinct was they're at the top. And then he kind of so that you can't see that in that story. But anyways, Carter, Braylon Womack, Jaira Edwards. I think Georgia's making a big move on Jaira.
Yes, Georgia and Alabama.
I think Georgia had his Georgia official visit this early, I believe.
He did. It was this weekend for G-Day.
So he's going to have some buzz coming off of that. You know it.
Standouts, Cole. I can only go off of what I've heard, but I will say this: the first one that popped in my mind. Y'all gonna laugh at me, but Hudson Big Cock.
No, I mean, look, dude. By all accounts,
Big Hudson Cock. Excuse me,
dude. I can't even look at you straight right now, man. But hang time, serious hang time, distance. Really talented.
Love him. They love him, and what he's going to be able to do for them. Lots of folks.
That's a game changer. Think about how porous special teams were last year. Now, I don't
Oscar took a big step back, didn't he?
I thought Oscar took a step back, though he wasn't the biggest issue on special teams. I mean, I think the litany of failures at, field goal kicking were probably chief amongst those, but coverage was not great either. I think having a specialist of Hudson Cox caliber makes a difference for Auburn this year. It's hidden yardage.
But whether you've seen them or heard, Alan, I'm sure you've heard some names. Just throw out some names, fellas. Who's some standouts that you've heard about, some good things?
Kieron Crawford. Okay. I've heard really good things about Kieron, and I think because he's got to be, but that he's taken a step forward, and that the work ethic has always been there, and he's the kind of leader that they need at that position. I think it would be good for Auburn if he is what I think he can be.
I'll tell you this. I put out a 10 names I'm hearing about a week ago, and I vetted that again on Saturday. Like, hey, let's make sure this list is good. Yep. Okay, good. So trust me on this list. I think I've vetted it enough that I feel good about these 10 names. Obviously Deuce, Sam Turner, Keyron was in there.
Yeah.
Mason Murphy.
Yes.
I had Tall in here. Now, I didn't necessarily say that I was hearing good things about everybody. These are just the names I'm hearing. Okay. I think Tall's having an okay spring, but there's going to be some shuffling going on. Where does he end up? I'll find that interesting.
I do too.
Blake Woodby.
Oh.
Malik Blockton. Cam Coleman, obviously. Kieron, I already said him. Jordan Crawford and Jared Smith.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Eric Singleton was another I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Singleton.
It's unfortunate that the people that went to A-Day, they didn't get to see Eric Singleton. They didn't get to see Jackson Arnold. It's just unfortunate. It would help a little bit with what Anthony was saying. If you did get to see Jackson Arnold and you got to see him make some good throws, whatever, because I got to see that Thursday and I was like, okay, well, I know what the chatter's been, but I just watched him throw some perfect balls. So,
all right, Carter, good stuff, big dog. Appreciate you calling in. Zach?
0448. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing well. Who we talking to?
Hey, this is JJ from Claude. It's been a while.
Oh, I remember JJ from spell it.
JJ.
CLAUD.
CLAUD. Like Puma.
Yeah, Johnson Tractor Supplies.
Yes. I remember this. I vaguely remember. We had to talk about it. There's a Johnson Tractor Supply in Claude, Alabama.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
Let me see where Claude is.
Hey, it's been a while since I called. I wanted to call in. Look, man, I really like, where the Auburn athletics department is coming up, man. Our baseball team's doing great. Fresh off the sweep. Our softball team took 2 out of 3 from Georgia. I mean, our basketball team made it to the Final Four. I really just wanted to say, I really think that, the football program is really on their way to being where they need to be. And I'm very confident that we could possibly have a really great season and surprise some people because, we've expected so much out of the program and we've kind of had letdown years. And I really like where Hugh has the program, and I think that we're really coming up. I didn't get to watch the A-Day game. I didn't get to go. Unfortunately, I had to go on a 24-hour road trip. But so much talk was about, Deuce Knight, the defense, and the wide receivers. But I wanted to ask you guys, what's you guys' opinions on our running back situation? And what about our linebackers? How are they looking? Because, like I said, I didn't really see anything or see any posts about either one of those positions. So I just wanted to get you guys' insights on that.
Fantastic.
Those
Fantastic. Because one guy that caught my eye yesterday, Cole, and what little I was not running my mouth and actually watching, was freaking Atkins, man. 17.
He's all over.
I love that. He was thumping, son.
Well, what I said on the show I did the other day was, look, I don't think you got this huge drop off from what you just had in Asante with Atkins. As far as skill set goes, very similar, right? Speedy. Gets around the field really well, can blitz, loves blitzing, kind of has that maniac about him when he's blitzing, right? Melendez, saw him a lot. And Bryce Diaz. Yeah. So, and then, you talk to Freeze afterwards, and he goes, gosh, love our young linebackers. Love them, need them to grow up, need them to be there. Because it was in pertaining to the question that was, hey, Portal, what are you thinking? Right? And he's like,
they tried to get one more, did they not? They tried to get a middle guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody to compete with Jordan. Yeah, they did. And they've looked at a couple others too.
He mentioned linebacker. He's like, but he's like, it was like linebacker, but I'm telling you, these young guys, they can play. It was the way you put it. And but that you name the two positions, JJ, that I'm going, okay, where are you at there exactly?
Right. Yeah, I forgot. Auburn offered that guy about 2 weeks ago. I think he was from Kennesaw State or somewhere, or Middle Tennessee, or
Sanders Ellis.
Yeah,
Zach, is that it?
Yeah, no, he's since committed to Purdue.
Yeah, but we were talking. I mean, that just shows you that Auburn's interested, at least,
very much so,
in a Mike guy. Yeah. But yeah. So running back, I'll tell you what. And this was against in Skelly or something yesterday, but Jeremiah Cobb looked fast as crap.
He is fast. He's very fast.
Damari looks good between the tackles.
Yeah, I think he's very solid. I think
Darrell
Cobb brings a little bit of your change of pace, and then we haven't seen Darrell Robinson yet at all.
I saw him.
Well, he wasn't dressed out.
Yeah, he was too.
Was he?
I don't think he was too.
I thought he had a broken
I saw him run up to the end zone and it said Robinson, and I was like, oh, that's Darrell. He wasn't dressed out.
I saw him not dressed out. I don't think he.
Do you think I saw Henderson and thought it said Robinson?
What number?
22.
That's Henderson.
Is it?
Yeah,
that's what I said, dude. Darrell wasn't dressed out, man. How damn Cole. I need to shut my trap and watch what I'm doing.
No,
I can't see that far. He was,
Look, Jeffrey, you were strategically networking, okay?
Oh, you were doing right. Don't worry about that.
But no,
Alvin's smaller than I thought. By the way,
yes, I think he's going to be okay. It's just going to take time with him. The biggest thing I've heard about Alvin is they've liked his balance and body control, his vision. Those things from the high school ranks translate to where he is in Auburn right now. But size, strength, and pass pro are going to be the things that are going to keep him off the field next year, and depending on how well he does this offseason. But he's got an opportunity to play. Heard really good things about Damari as far as his commitment to the weight room and how physical he's been on inside zone. They feel like he's kind of taken a step there, and he needed to be a replacement for Jarquez. But the one that I've been impressed about from a like you talked about it, Cole, being a difference maker in the backfield as far as a change of pace is Jeremiah. That his leg drive has been better, his vision has been better, his toughness has been better this spring, and we'll see if that translates to fall. But I think you have an opportunity to have – you're not – I mean, I don't think you're going to replace the stats with one person for what Jarquez had last year. I think you're going to spread that across 3 backs. But I think you've got an opportunity to do that and then some, because you do have some talent in the backfield. It's just going to be more spread out than it was this past season.
You also have Justin Jones, who
Yeah.
I don't remember if he got put on scholarship or not, but I mean, I've heard people in the building go, "Look, he could probably play at another D1 place. That guy's good." He broke his arm. I don't know if he broke his arm. He had a sling on his arm, so he was out too. And you got Omar Mabson coming in as well. He will be ready to go this fall. I don't think this is a position they go to the portal for. They're done. It's just, where are they at exactly?
No, and look, I don't want to put anything that you guys are planning to put behind a paywall, but it feels like offensively, tight end is probably the place they're looking.
Yeah.
If you're going to add a piece to offense. And I think Hugh said as much in his press conference, or maybe I'm wrong on that.
No,
But
that's right.
I think tight end's the one spot they're probably definitely looking on offense, just because they want to diversify and be versatile in offense and be able to run some 12 and 13 personnel. And I don't think they love, beyond Brandon Frazier, I don't think they love their inline options. I think they want another guy that they can line up inline and count on to be a physical blocker at the point of attack.
Well, Hollis Davidson's been out a lot, which he's not an inline guy as much, but you got Ryan G, who is just an up and comer trying to figure things out. Where's he going to be at by the time you get to the season? Rico Walker is one of those guys we're just not sure where he's at. So,
I don't.
No, I don't. If Rico Walker's on this team a year from now, I'll be shocked.
I'm with you.
They're recruiting over him right now. I think that's what this spring portal is at tight end. I think they're recruiting over him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
JJ, appreciate your call, B-Dog. That we needed tight end. Running back and linebacker discussion. So good stuff, man. We appreciate you calling in.
Last call of the night. I believe we have Darren here. Darren, you're live.
This is Darren from Niceville.
The closer.
You had it right.
Natural.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
How about you, Darren?
Good.
Rolling right along. Jay Lee, that I'll take on that question. I want mine lightly blackened and grilled and not fried on my fish. Was that the question of the day?
Yeah, sure.
Remember.
Catch of the day, maybe. Yeah.
You want it grilled and not fried?
Is there?
Give me the fried fish, big dog.
Quick things real quick. I didn't really pay attention to 8A. There's so much other stuff going on with baseball, softball, Masters, everything else. And knowing it was just a scrimmage, I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention or listen to a whole lot was coming out of it, because I felt like it was, the Deuce thing. I get it, letting Jackson just stay sitting down. If he's got a hammy or whatever, and it didn't matter one way or the other. And I'm glad we have the talk of Deuce, but I think it's more the fans and media or whoever. I think, Alan, I think you're right. It depends on who's putting it out there, what you may hear, and want to rattle the cages a little bit to create something, some buzz maybe. But I don't think there's really any buzz here, and I don't see Ashton Daniels coming in here in the fall and taking the first string quarterback position either. I may be completely wrong.
No, I think that's fair to say. I don't see it happening.
I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see that happening. So here's the thing. We got portal coming up. After what y'all have seen so far internally, is there anybody you think we may lose to the portal, and has your number changed? That 7.5, right? We a few weeks back we said it was 7.5. Thanks what Vegas got. Have y'all seen anything internally that would change your thoughts, or we may lose somebody that we've got that may not be getting the time right now? And or do you know or have heard anything externally against our opponents that might think that puts us in a better position, that may sway us to have a better game or win another 1 or 2 out there? Enjoy the show. I hope y'all have a great weekend.
Appreciate you, Darren. Do want to mention that some other news Saturday was Terrence Love.
Yes.
Former 4-star safety entered the transfer portal. I don't think that was a big loss. I don't think that's going to affect Auburn one way or the other. He saw the writing on the wall.
I honestly expected him to go ahead, Cole. I'm sorry.
He must have told Hayes, hey, whenever the 8A game's over, just drop that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will be honest. I can remember our discussions in December when we were kind of sharing notes, and he was definitely on my list of guys that I had heard.
I was actually surprised he didn't go in December. I think we all were.
Yeah, very surprised that. And look, I think he's still a great kid, good football player. There just wasn't really a spot for him at Auburn right now for him to be able to play immediately, and that's what he wants to do. And
right,
good for him. I mean, I think he's one of the few that did it the right way.
Sure,
I mean, he competed, just didn't realize it wasn't going to happen here, and he's going to go someplace else.
I think this was his third year. Would be his third year.
Yes,
and listen, that's why I admire Jeremiah Cobb. I'm a big fan of Jeremiah Cobb. Could have dipped a long time ago.
Amari, same.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
He has waited his turn.
Robert Woodyard is doing the same thing.
But as far as, have you heard anything internally, externally, whether it's for Auburn, maybe some opponents, to change your mind? I'm still at 7. I'm still at 7-5 with maybe an 8 win in the bowl game. That's where I am right now. But I will say this, man. After talking to people around the program, they expect to win 9 games. I mean, they're very confident. They're optimistic. They don't feel like they're still a year away from winning 8 or 9 games. They feel like this is a year with the roster that they've got and the schedule that 9 games is absolutely doable. I think there's a huge upgrade in the quarterback room. Huge. Yes. Which is that good enough for 2 wins?
Yeah.
I mean, if so, then you're at 7, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'm kind of annoyed by something here.
Is it the
pertaining to this? I'm annoyed by something because I know how the fans are going to react to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody should give Auburn more than 7 wins right now. That's being optimistic based on what we've seen the last 2 years. Okay.
Correct.
But I personally, just from what I do, and I get to see things that other people don't, and I get to watch practice and whatever, and recruiting. The message that Freeze has been putting out there about let me get my players in, or not necessarily, let me lose until I do it. He's not saying that. He's saying I've got to get 3 classes in. You got to let me build it. People are tired of that. They don't want to hear it. And it annoys me because I'm watching the spring version of this football team, not the one you're going to see on the field, be better than any product I've seen at Auburn in the last 5, maybe 6, 7 years.
Sure.
The spring version. I already like it better as far as a roster goes. Right? I think they'll have a few more guys leave. I don't think they'll lose anybody that you wouldn't want them to lose. I would be surprised if that happens. Maybe 1, just playing the law of averages, 1 or 2.
Sure.
But the way it went in the first one, you go, well, if they want to keep them, they're going to keep them. Right?
Yeah, they locked down some guys that were teetering.
So many people are just ignoring Hugh Freeze when he says that, and they have every right to, but I don't. Because I'm seeing the product. He has credibility with me.
No, I mean, I think you're speaking truth to power on that one, Cole. And realistically, you've heard Hugh say that less this offseason than he has in prior off seasons because he feels like the roster's in a better place. And so he's not necessarily being that level of transparent anymore. I think he realizes that now he has a roster that he feels more confident in and that he feels like he can win with. And so that's less of kind of maybe a stump line than what he's used in the past. But it's hard right now, Darren, for me to say anything about any other team. I need to do a deep dive about what they've added in the portal, what people are reporting. It's hard with this transient as this sport has become after every portal cycle. If you told me that Vanderbilt signed 11 portal guys this past offseason and they gel and they're a 10 times better team than they were last year, I'd believe it. And if you tell me that they took 7 of the wrong guys and they're going to suck, I'd believe that too. I mean, that's just the way this sport works right now. So as far as what I've heard about Auburn, I think they're going to probably try to add a Mike linebacker, a tight end, and a defensive tackle this portal cycle. If they have any other attrition, they'll counterbalance that.
Address that,
they'll address that at that point. Maybe they'll take a fourth quarterback. I don't see that. I think it's going to have to be a guy that's probably either A, super young, and they just fired their head coach, like maybe Stanford's fourth string quarterback decides they want to transfer because they just fired their head coach, and you find somebody that way.
Right.
Or it's an older guy that's trying to get into coaching and they got 1 year left, and they're the Cord Sandberg of the bunch.
Cord Sandberg.
So, I mean, you're gonna find a very niche player if you're gonna fill that spot, and I think Auburn might be better served to put that scholarship elsewhere.
Is Pavia back?
Yes.
Yes, he's back.
8 day in the morning.
He's the reason they have that JUCO ruling now, right? So they got the court injunction for a year to allow JUCOs to have the added extra ability, which is why Xavier Miller has the opportunity to come back this next year.
Hugh Freeze is just punching air. Pavi's coming back. Hey, can I ask y'all a quick thing before we get out of here?
Sure thing.
Something I asked we got some time with some staffers, Jeffrey. I asked a lot of questions. I asked this. When Freeze took the job at Auburn, that roster, all right, I'll even give you to when he brought in all the portal guys the first year, right? Before the season. How many of the SEC head coaches would do a wholesale swap of their roster with Auburn's?
Clerkley would have, and that would have been about it.
Vanderbilt, right?
Maybe Kentucky, depending on the year. I mean, I think Kentucky would have traded rosters with us last year, but that's about it.
I mean, do you think Missouri would have?
Hell no.
Do you think Mississippi State would have? Ole Miss?
State would have last year. That first year, probably not.
Okay. Do you agree, Jeffrey? Vandy, is that pretty much the one that might swap with Auburn?
Might, yeah. Shit,
Okay.
might.
Right now, where things stand everywhere and at Auburn, how many SEC head coaches would seriously consider swapping their roster? In a hypothetical, of course.
At least 6.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the majority of half, because you're going to probably you're going to have Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, probably Kentucky, Arkansas.
Yes.
No LSU, no Alabama, no Georgia, no Tennessee, no Florida.
No.
Who else? Texas, no. Oklahoma,
I think it's
no.
pretty close with Florida and Tennessee.
I think, Florida, Tennessee, no. I mean, maybe now that Nico's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Florida would be a tight one. Now, they wouldn't trade quarterback. They got a special one at quarterback, but they might trade for some other spots.
Florida's got some talent on that roster. That dude can recruit.
They do. But what I'm saying is it's close in that one.
Sure.
Whereas you can.
Now, would they consider it? I think that was the question, to be fair. That was Cole's question. Consider it? I'm sure they would look at they would consider it.
Like you would do some horse trading, maybe.
South Carolina.
If you're one of those that's really even, you're going, all right, receiver, I think they got us there, right?
But this is a good measuring stick as to where do you think Auburn stacks up in the SEC, talent wise, roster wise, and
I'm a little higher than y'all are, actually, from what it sounds like.
The offensive line, unless there's some other offensive line,
I'm with you, Jeffrey. I think
defensive line too.
Yeah, I think line of scrimmage is still the spot. I think skill wise, Cole, you're right.
Right, sure.
I think perimeter talent, you could probably go blow for blow with a lot of people. And I think you have a lot of young talent on the interior and the defensive line and the offensive line, but it's not mature talent yet.
Right.
Notice I didn't say mature this time.
Mature.
I've been working on that, guys.
MATOOR.
Of the Chip Lindsey variety.
Isn't that what the Oklahoma's QB's name is?
Washington. What was the guy who went to the transfer portal? Oh, is that Oklahoma now? Yeah. What's his name?
Mateer. That's it.
Mateer, yeah.
John Mateer.
Are you in Mateer?
I honestly believe Oklahoma would swap a lot with Auburn.
I do too.
That's one.
I don't think Georgia would do it. I don't think Alabama would do it. I don't think Texas would do it. I don't think Texas A&M would do it. After that, after those four, I'm thinking everybody's considering it.
What do you think? I mean, man, I'm a big line of scrimmage guy. Auburn's not there, not even on paper. I mean, who's Auburn's starting? We know you've got Xavier Chaplin, and who's behind him? Not a true LT.
Probably
as of right now, it's probably Miller.
Probably Miller, maybe TJ Johnson. It depends.
Out of position guy. So
Buster.
you're having to move somebody to get a backup LT.
So I think TJ's a natural left tackle. They're just moonlighting him at right now. So
Who's this?
TJ Johnson.
A guy who's never played before.
Well, listen.
That's true. I mean, fair enough.
You know who's been running with the twos at left tackle? That'd be Ty Buster.
It would be. Now,
Lord have mercy. And you think they was what? You got a true freshman that's been here 6 days. That's your backup left tackle.
In fairness,
I didn't say they would swap. I said they consider it.
Who does Oklahoma have?
They consider it until they looked at the offensive line depth chart.
Yeah. In fairness, who does Oklahoma have?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know other people's rosters.
Well,
I just know I'm going off of recruiting rankings, and I know where their classes have been for the past 5 years.
Sure.
You got Xavier Chaplin at left, who,
I've heard great things about him.
Pretty high priority in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn locked that one down really quickly for that reason. You got Mason Murphy, who started a bunch of games at USC.
Conflicting reports on him.
Sure. And then you got Jeremiah Wright, Connor Liu, and
solid.
Dylan Wade for right now.
Solid.
DeAndre
They've
Carter
got 6 really good guys, and I learned this Saturday from talking. They've got 6 really, really good guys, they think.
Would you put Braden Joyner in that group of 6?
They didn't.
6 or 7, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you've got the starting 5, presumably, of Xavier Chaplin, Connor Liu, Jeremiah Wright, Too Tall, Mason, and who else am I forgetting? Who's the right tackle? Because they were thinking maybe you could take
Mason Murphy is the right tackle.
So okay, let's go from right to left. Presumably Mason Murphy,
Yep.
Jeremiah Wright,
Yep.
Connor Liu,
Yep.
Dylan Wade.
Okay, Dylan Wade. Thank you. That's who I'm missing. There's your 6, and Xavier Chaplin, and then Too Tall.
Yeah.
So there's your 6. Those 6 right there, you're going to get 5 good ones out of that. They feel good about that.
Tell you, if I was like putting an 11th guy or a 12th guy on that 10 list, Dre Carter has gotten tons of buzz.
I tell you what, I liked old Favor Edwin the other day. Yesterday,
Edwin has the look for
sure. He has the look. There you go.
Trying to think who else is. I mean, you still haven't gotten Broderick Scholl going. You haven't gotten Jacoby Ward in, Kale Ellis.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've said this a couple times now, I think there's a chance you could get another guy from the portal on the offensive line because of all the guys that are leaving after this year. You got to be ready for that, right?
And I mentioned that the other day that if you could get a young interior offensive lineman, I think it would be worth it. I mentioned Stanford. There was a guy that Auburn recruited very heavily out of South Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I would love to see Khalil House on that roster. I don't think that's going to happen. But, again, for those that don't know, Stanford fired their head coach amongst a internal investigation, and they are free to jump in the portal right now. So it'll be interesting.
There's a couple things, Jeffrey, to your point, where some of those in the middle are going, I don't know. I think I like ours better. But then there's some positions where they're going to that.
Yeah. Would they? I mean, you're going to sacrifice maybe a little bit better offensive line for a whole lot better wide receiver group, right?
Okay.
And hell, quarterback room for that matter too. What do you think Tennessee would do with these 2 quarterbacks?
I think Tennessee would take Auburn's quarterback room right now.
Make it 3 with Ashton Daniels.
Yeah,
Sure. So I think to what Cole's point is, you got 4 rosters in that league: Texas, Georgia, Alabama, A&M, that are superior to Auburn's at almost every position exclusively, right?
Yeah.
And then beyond that, you have a bunch of teams in the same bucket where they could trade position groups. And then you've got that tier beneath of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
The
point is that Auburn has moved from tier 3
to tier 2.
Solid tier 2.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a big jump.
And Hugh thinks he's at least one more top 10 class away from pushing that tier 1.
Sure. I think he's a spring portal away from getting upgrades across the board at every position. And then look at what you're talking about. I mean, go back to last spring. They brought in Keandre Lambert-Smith. It's going to be different this time, I think. But Keyron Crawford, Keandre Lambert-Smith. They brought in I'm missing.
They
2 or
brought in
3 guys.
3 starters. 'Cause
Rakes, Bleedy.
Yeah, yeah, 3
Those were
starters.
all- those guys were not on the team last spring, and they all played, started, did big things in some regards.
Yeah.
So
Do
We're heavily dependent on.
Yes. Do you think Auburn can find the same level of talent in this spring portal? Because my gut makes me think that there's going to be less available in this spring portal than there was last one because more teams have money to retain talent.
I think the freshman group's so good, Alan, that it's not like you have. I mean, where would Auburn have been last year if they did not get Isaiah Rakes and Philip Bleedy? Not that those guys are world beaters by any measure,
but they were 2 deep guys.
My gosh, where would they have been without them?
Mm-hmm. And look how thin they were down the stretch in D line, and what would they have done without those guys?
Oh God!
I think they need one guy, but they're not in a position like they were. It's
no. You're right, Cole. Because here's the thing: at the end of this year, if you looked up and told me that Jordan was in the 2 deep, because right now I think he's probably in the 2 deep, but
yeah,
you've got 2 other veterans in Bobby Travis and the kid you brought in from Western Kentucky that Dallas Walker that you feel comfortable rolling out there. So you know what I mean, like you said, but you've got the opportunity for them to mature, and that's what I want to see at that 3-tech spot. I don't know that you've got that same. You don't have a vet there unless it's
by the way,
it's Zeke Walker that's going to play at that position.
Yeah. But that's another point where you could look at Freeze and what he's been saying and go, hard not to believe you. If you say the freshmen are good, I think we have a reason to believe you after what we saw from the freshmen a year ago.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, credit to this recruiting staff. Their evaluations have been good. I mean, have been very good as far as what they thought they were getting and when they would be able to contribute. I mean, hat tip to them on that.
Hat tip to Cole. I'm with you now, big dog. Those that elite tier 1 and everybody else is strongly considering it.
Yeah, I think so.
I do too.
I think they've solidified themselves tier 2. I agree with you there.
All right, let's do it. Hey, I mentioned this a little earlier. Next Sunday is Easter Sunday. We will not be doing a show. We're going to be spending it with family, with friends. Hope you do the same. And we'll be back the following week. I believe that's the last Sunday in April. And be looking at some spring portal news. I'm guessing will happen in the next 2 weeks. Stay locked on to Auburn Live on 3 for that. And basketball portal visits are happening this week. Auburn Live on 3. Justin Hokinson's doing a fantastic job. Best on the beat at that. Get locked on to Auburn Live on 3 for all your basketball portal intel. We'll be getting kicked off when we come back for May official visits. Going to be some big weekends in May as far as official visits go. We'll be tracking all of that as well. Don't forget, if you're in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, looking for some real estate help, give her a call. Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. Give her a call. Tell her we sent you. All right, that's going to do it, folks. We're going to be back 2 weeks. We're going to be back 2 weeks, which will be the 27th. April 27th, we'll be back for the show. Hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful Easter Sunday, a blessed Easter Sunday. I hope you spend it with family, friends, and if you don't like them, I hope you have a fantastic time by yourself. Some people will envy you. All right, folks, that's going to do it. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Cole Pinkston, for Alan Head, for Zach in the back who came to the front, and now he's in the back. I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay at that left lane. See ya.